If you're still sitting there using ChatGPT to write your emails, you are not using AI to its full potential. I'm going to show you exactly how you can use AI, how we show our clients how to use it, and how you can use it so that you get more accurate scope reads so that it actually does work for you, not just write your emails or draft your emails, and how you can use it to do takeoffs and how you can use it for automation, how it actually lives inside your computer. Let's go. All right. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Claude for your construction business. Okay, most people come here and they come to Claude and they're like, hey, Claude, and they talk to it and it talks back, but you're not actually getting the full potential out of the system. So in this video, we're going to walk through how to use it, the differences between Claude, Coworker, and Claude Code, which one you need at which time, and how to identify which one you need to be using right now. So let's dive in. So first things first, most of you are probably familiar with ChatGPT. Let me be clear, ChatGPT is not better. It was simply first, okay? It's not better, it was simply the first to market. And there is a law of marketing which says it is better to be first than to be better. Okay, this is without a doubt the better model. All right, without a doubt the better model. And I'm going to show you how it works. I'm going to show you some of the stuff you can do with it. But I want to show you some real cool practical stuff that actually works for what you wanted to do. Okay, because it can have all the tools in the world, but if it's not relevant to what you do personally, it doesn't really matter. So let's dive in. Now, I've downloaded the Claude app on my desktop or my MacBook. With the app, you get full function. If you use the browser, I don't think you get access to Coworker. So you want to get the app, okay? Claude, it's free to trial. Pro version is $30 a month, whatever it is. Okay, now here, these are the models that you can use. So Opus is the most capable, this one's the most efficient, and the other one's the quickest. We're going to go with Opus just for the sake of it. We're going to show you some functions of it, how it works, etc. Now, everyone comes here and they normally use it as per normal. They'll be like, hey, can you do this for me, etc. I'm going to show you a few different things that you can do to really ramp this up. So the first thing you need to understand about this is, if we open this sidebar just here, you need to understand what projects are. Really, really important, okay? Projects mean, I want you to think of projects as a skill set. Okay, so or think of projects as an employee. Like you wouldn't go to your administrator and say, hey, put these two pieces of timber together. You just wouldn't do that, right? You wouldn't go to the receptionist and say, hey, go on site and do an inspection. It's just not going to happen, right? Or go manage this project. And he's like, what? That's not my job. This is the same thing. So with these, you want to create skill sets that people can do. So we're going to jump in here and we're going to create a new project. Let's just say we wanted a project that could actually estimate for us. So we'd be like, cool, I'm going to call it the estimator. Estimator. All right, so this is a project that can estimate for us. Now, while we do that, I'm just going to get up another screen where I can actually draw for you guys and give you some understanding of what it is that these things actually do. So I'll just bring this up here. All right, so this is just a Figma board, and I'm going to go through some stuff with you. So I want you to understand how these AI bots actually work. Okay, everyone uses one element of it. So we all think we're using it to its full capacity, and all we're doing is we're using the brain, which is also known as a large language model, right? And we all think we're using it to its full capacity because we're talking to the thing, and it's like, no, you're not. That's not its full capacity. Okay, so that's one element of it. Another element of it is memory, right? Having it understand who it is and what it does. Giving it some level of identity. And then the last one is tools. So giving it access to some tools. So the same way when you hire a new employee in your team, you go and you say, hey guys, here's your computer, here's your tool belt, whatever you give them. These need to have all of these things connected to it. Otherwise, it just ain't going to function as well as it could. Now, the beauty of this is these models here, let's make this a bit bigger. This is already, Claude. That's what we're plugging into here. Now, most of them these days have this built in. They've got built-in memory already. Now, if you did this a year ago, they didn't. But now they have built-in memory. So what we want to do now is we want to go and play around with the identity / instructions. Okay, so we want to go and teach it some stuff. So I'm going to jump back to the screen. We're going to come here and we're going to go into instructions. And what we're going to do is provide Claude with the relevant instructions for information for chats within the estimator project. Now, most people will come here and they'll be like, hey, Claude, you are a professional estimator, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's not the right thing to do. Okay, what you want to actually do here is you want to jump to a new screen. I'm just going to jump over here. I'm going to use an app called Whisperflow. Whisperflow is used to dictate. I recommend it. You don't have to use it. It's up to you. But we're going to use Whisperflow here. And hey, Claude, I need you to write me a set of project instructions for an Claude project that I'm building. It's for an estimator. It's going to estimate residential construction projects. It will need to do takeoffs, pricing, and we'll have to put it all together for me in, or at least provide me with a laid out spreadsheet and an itemized quote so that I can then feed it into Coworker to build out a presentation. Please ask me anything you need for us to be able to do this. Thanks. And then I hit enter. And what it'll do now is it'll come back to me with a bunch of questions about this set of instructions. So see here, it says, before I draft them, I need to understand a few things to make sure the instructions actually fit how you work, right? The biggest mistake we make, you got to remember, these are programmed to push things forward. They lack context. So if they don't have something, they'll assume, they'll hallucinate, they'll just fill in the blanks. So if you always say to it, hey, ask me everything you need, it'll come back to you and ask you stuff. So it says, what type of projects do you do? Let's just say we do renovations and extensions only. We're in Australia. What inputs? I'm just going to give you plans, right? And this is good. A few more things that I need to know to nail down before drafting. These will shape how the estimator will actually structure its output. How do you want takeoff and quote structured? We'll go construction sequence. Do you have your own rates, or should it estimate market rates? Use general market rates. How should margins, overheads, and contingencies be handled? Just use a standard markup, 20% builder's margin. How many of you builders are charging 20%? That's what I'd love to know. You should be. One more round, then I'll draft it. So a few more questions. See, in the beauty of Claude, it doesn't just come back to you and say, answer all this stuff. It actually gives you easy to answer. What deliverables do you want for each project? I just want a takeoff spreadsheet. When the plans are missing info, how should it handle this? Flag them clearly and use conservative assumptions. Ask me. Don't just do it. Should it include site costs and prelims separately? Yes, itemize prelims. Yes, include allowances. Both of the above. Yeah, both of the above. Sure. Got it. Here's everything I need. I'll write the project instructions as a markdown file so you can go straight into the project instructions fields. How good is this? And now it's going to write up the instructions for me. I don't have to do anything. I just get to sit here and think about what I'm going to have for dinner. This thing's going to town. Yeah, we can see everything it's doing. Look at that. I don't know about you, but I can't type that fast. So this is Claude Chat, by the way. We haven't even gotten into Coworker and code, but we will, because I think you're going to be amazed at what this can do. Okay, moving into final outputs, blah, blah, blah. So now it's showing me this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy this. I'm just going to hit the copy corner. I'm going to jump back into projects. I don't even care about what it's saying anymore. I don't even read it. Jump into here and I'm just going to paste it all. And now you can see the details of this project instruction. Like you're never going to write like this, right? You're a residential construction estimator specializing in renovations and extensions in Australia. You produce detailed takeoffs and itemized quotes from architectural plans, all pricing in AUD, metric units. Output feeds directly into Coworker presentations. Do you know what I mean? It's doing everything we said: structure, itemized quote format, pricing rules, margin and contingencies, provisional sums, and even quality standards, tone and communication. Let's save the instructions. Okay, now if I have previous quotes that I've done here or previous estimations, I would upload these files into here. So you got to think of this as anything, or if you got like a price list, you can put it in here. This is anything you want the agent to be able to reference. Okay, now what we're going to do here is we're going to jump here and I'm going to say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a set of plans, because I want to show you what this can actually do when you upload a set of plans to it. Cool, building plans. Hey Claude, can you please do a takeoff on these plans that I've shared? I'd like you to assess how many linear meters of timber I'll need for the wall framing, and also how many windows on the property, and how many square meters of plaster will I need for internal only, wall and ceilings. Please ask me anything you need to know to clarify. Now, most of you are thinking, there's no way this is going to do these takeoffs, right? There is no way in the world that this thing's actually going to go and read the plans and based on the information in the plans, provide me with this information accurately. And I think if you're not doing this already, you're already behind. That's just the truth. Okay, because these already have the plans, have the ability to be able to do this. It's not a if this then that. It's not I can only use it in these cases. This can read plans. Okay, this is going to be quicker than you. It's probably going to be more accurate than you. I did this with a client once, and I think there was like a 15 meter difference or something in the total timber required, and then we worked out that he had made the mistake, not the bot. Right. Okay, so this is all flicking through now. So it's a substantial project. It's got the project address listed there. 2 dwellings with each basement, ground floor, first floor. This is more than a renovation. It's effectively 2 new builds. Well, let me get a closer look. Probably should have put the renovation in. Anyway, excellent. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Yeah, it's also see 2 windows have been removed in revision E. So it's assessing. Now it's doing a scope summary. So proposed dual dwellings, residential development from address and project name. 2 new dwellings, blah, 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 both with attics, decks, and POS courtyards. Note, before I go further, these are working drawings for a new dual dwelling, not a renovation extension. I can absolutely take off framing, window, and plaster from these, but it's worth flagging because some of my standard renovation prelims won't all apply. Crossovers, yeah, that would be more involved. So clarifying questions, so framing scope. Do you want me to include all timber framing? Yes, include all timber framing, please. Quoting linear meters of framing usually means counting top and bottom plates, plus studs and noggins. Do you want total linear meters for all framing, most useful for ordering, or linear meters of wall length only? Total linear meters of all framing timber, please. Stud size and spacing. So this is wild, like the amount of information it's been able to consume about this project already. So assume 90 by 45 MGP10 pine studs at 450mm centers for external walls and 600mm centers for internal walls with double top plates and single bottom plates. This is standard for class 1 dwelling as per AS 1684, but engineer specs may dictate 90-35 or 70-45 in places. So this is wall heights, assume 2.7, da 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 da. Yeah, on the windows, the Rev shows windows removed. Do you want a simple total count or count sizes broken down? So it's useful for getting supply quotes. I'd recommend the latter. For question 6, please go with the latter. The combined doors and windows, do you want external glazed doors? Sliding doors there count as windows since they're glazed opening with the window supply codes or kept separate. Please keep the sliding doors separate from the windows. On the internal plaster, what counts as internal? You can decide what counts as internal. Just keep us in the loop with what you went with and why. Please count all wet areas and assume 10mm for all plasterboards. Now, normally you would take your time here and answer all of these, right? But for the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to say, for everything else I've listed here, please make assumptions moving forward. I just need this quote put together. So I'll just hold it to kind of make assumptions. You never want to do that realistically. You'd rather take your time with this, give it all the information it needs, right? This is a tool. The more you feed into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So got it. I'll proceed with assumptions you've confirmed, making sensible calls for everything else, documenting them clearly. Seeing the beauty of this as well is like you're not just sitting here waiting, like it's actually telling you what it's thinking and what it's doing. You know, viewed page 2, useful confirmed timber frame construction with 90mm studs. View page 8, good, that's the electrical plan, but it gives me a clean view of room layouts on both floors. Ran a command, viewed file, I have enough now to do the takeoff, and it starts breaking down floor areas. So dwelling 1, ground floor, dwelling 2, ground floor, total enclosed habitable space. Now let me read the XLS skill before building the spreadsheet. So this is just the way the things work, you know how I said when you look over here, right? They need tools. So a tool is a skill, right? So when we're building this, or when we're getting it to work for us, it having the ability to go and use different tools is what they call a skill set. Okay, so Claude has this all built in. Like when you had to do this 6-12 months ago, you had to go and build a workflow and add the skills in and try and make sure they communicate well and it knows which bits of information to extract, and now you just kind of hand it to it and it's like, cool, I'll do everything from here. Right, so here we go, look, it's reading thing. Now let me work out the takeoff, I'll do my calculations carefully and I'll build the spreadsheets. This is the most wow part. Usually when we take people through this and they get to this point, they're kind of like, holy shit, this thing completely understands what we do. And we're only in the chat element here. So I'm going to let this calculate and then I'll check back in once it's done. Okay, so now it's getting some pricing, some price rates. It's jumping through it. As you can see here, it's got wall framing, plasterboards. I got no idea if these are accurate or not, but you should know better than I would. This is Melbourne, Australia based pricing. Windows, $1,200 a square meter. That is wild. Surely not. 2,500 of windows. Nah, that can't be right. Aluminium, windows. I don't know. Who cares about that? Anyway, I'm not too fussed about that. I don't recommend you telling it to go get prices. My recommendation at this point is you to provide a pricing list. Okay, and you keep that pricing list as up to date as you can, and then you feed that into it, and then it makes the calculations of that. So now it's building out a spreadsheet. So this spreadsheet is actually going to have all the information broken down bit by bit. Oh, sorry, so that we can see the whole thing. Now I'm just gonna wait for. While this carries on, I'm actually gonna explain to you the difference between chat, which is what we're using now, Coworker, and code. Okay, so there's chat, Coworker, code. Chat, I want you to think of chat as like I talk to you, you respond, right? So the same way I'm sitting here and I'm typing information into this box, it comes back and it responds to me. And it's like, okay, cool, blah, 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 blah. Coworker, I want you to think of it as, hey, here's a task and I want you to go do this task. And Coworker will actually go and take the task, and it's connected to a whole bunch of tools. So you can have it connected to your project management tools, you can have it connected to all sorts of things, and it'll go and do the work for you. And then code is like inside your computer. So think, and I'll show you a real quick glimpse of it today, but I just want to finish this part so that we can move on to the next bit. But I want you to understand this thing actually does takeoffs, right? So you can feed plans straight into it. It'll go and it'll take all the measurements for you. And here we go. Wall framing, 2,283 linear meters of timber, 22 windows, 1,152 square meters of plasterboard. So this is 2 dwellings, right? Now let me build a price quoted spreadsheet. So it's taken all the numbers, it's verified all the takeoffs, and now it's creating a price quote spreadsheet. And we can see how it's creating it. So one of the biggest things that people don't think about when they do this is, you know, we look at a computer and we see a screen with like nice colors on it and we think that that's how the computer operates. What we don't understand is what's actually behind the interface. So the pretty colors are for us. That's how we like to see. We're visual creatures. But what's actually happening on the back end is it's all code. It's all what you see now. Because you can see this thing is writing the whole thing with code, and then wait until you see the end result of what actually comes out on the other side, right? This will be super cool. All right, so now it looks like it's done. Here are the headline numbers, so it's done a takeoff spreadsheet. So what's it done here? Here are the headline numbers, 3 items you asked about: wall framing, windows, and internal plaster. Okay, so price for these 3 trades only. A few things worth flagging given the assumptions I had to make on the framing. I worked it from the floor area. On the windows, I counted 22 from a Revision E schedule, excluded the 2 removed ones, and kept the 2 sliding doors separate as you asked. I treated the openable skylights and sun tunnels as windows, each labeled position A40. I don't even know what that means. On the plaster, I included internal face of all external walls, both faces of all timber frame partitions, all habitable ceilings. So it's gone into detail, you can see. Okay, so as you can see here, it's got the project, it's got the address, the project number, plan reference, blah, 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 when it's supposed to be built. Here's everything you need to know about it. And then as we go into takeoffs, it's actually, I'm just going to open this up a little bit wider so you all can see. It's got a complete breakdown of the type of timber, the item code, the stage, the description, the location, the quantity, and then some assumptions / notes about it. All right, so it's got all different types: total length, subtotal length, total framing, lockup, so structure, then it's got lockup, then it's got fit out. Okay, and then it's got, so this is for the timber, this is for all the windows, so it's 22 windows per property, and this is for the fit out. And then if we go to assumptions, it's made a whole bunch of assumptions, just letting you know, so then we can jump in here and just make sure that there's nothing that is assumed that's going to be detrimental to what we're doing, right? Really, really cool. Now, see here, next time try this in Coworker. So hand off complex tasks to Claude to handle independently and come back to finished results. So let's go and try Coworker. But what I'm going to do first, actually, just before we do here, so you can see up here, it's got the 3 tabs: chat, Coworker, and then code. So we've just finished chat, we've used it. I'm going to download one of these, or all of these. No, I'm just going to download one, so just make it easy. Oh, it's put a quote together as well. Oh, it's gone quoted each and everything, provided the whole summary stage one. See, this is cool, man. Like, you know, inclusions, exclusions, assumptions, very cool. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to take, all right, fine, I'll download both. I wasn't going to download both. I'll download the quote. Yeah, so let's just download the quote onto the desktop, and then let's download the takeoff onto the desktop. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump into Coworker. Okay, so Coworker, this is where you connect all your tools, right? So to do this properly, the best thing for you is the best thing to do is to come into here, go into the customize section, and actually connect every single tool you use. Right now, this is a generic account that we use for content. So I haven't got everything plugged in. I haven't got anything plugged in, to be completely honest. But you can come in here and you can plug all this stuff in. You can plug it to the stuff that you use. You can teach it different skills, right? Remember I was saying about skills before. But for now, we're just going to use the stock standard version, and I think you'll still be pretty impressed by what it does. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some files and photos. I'm going to upload those 2 documents that it gave us, and I'm also, so they're there, and I'm also going to upload some brand guidelines. And I'm going to say, hey Claude, can you please put this all together for me in a nice slide deck that I can use to present to the client? I've attached some brand guidelines. I've attached a itemized takeoff and a quote. Please provide as much information whilst doing a general intro about the company. Ask me anything else you need to know to make sure that this is world class. See, we've never lived in a day and age where we've been able to do things using natural language. Right, like, so a lot of the time you have to use technology, you have to understand new things, you weren't able to talk in any way you wanted. Now we have something that can actually translate the way we speak, meaning you can go and you can create things and you can code and do all this other jazz without having to actually be able to do this. Now, this will take maybe 5 to 7 minutes. What I'm going to do is, I was going to say I was going to use this timer, but it doesn't look like I am, to be completely honest. Well, there you go. Not going to do anything. I'm going to show you the time. It's 4:35. Okay? And I'll be back once this is done, and I'll show you the time. So I've just got a few questions just before. Sorry, I'll show you actually what the questions are. So I've put in my marketing agency, so I'm just going to say use the branding only. Who's the client being branded for? Just use placeholders. How much details do you want in a deck? Let's do a standard deck. Okay, and then it says anything specific you want to emphasize or called out. Let's just go with partial quote framing and methodology. Let's just go with methodology and variance and confidence ratings. Nah, whatever that is, sure. As this continues to work, as you can see, it's built out all the slide decks. It's got it here on the right hand side. You can see the working folder. So this has every file involved in the overall. So it takes screenshots as it goes, and we can actually see what they look like. But I want to leave it until it's completely finished before we show you. But you can see it's worked on all the slides, got a whole bunch of stuff happening. It's using a whole bunch of different skills, and it's even got in its overall plan to fix any QA issues found. So it'll do a check through it before it hands it to you and says, hey, this is now finished. Now, while that continues, okay, and just for context, this has been going for 8 minutes now, okay? And while that continues, what I'm going to do is I want to actually explain what Claude Code is, because I want you to understand it holistically. Okay, so they all do the same thing. So I want you to look at it. They all run using the same brain. Okay, they all use the exact same thing. The chat is just this. So when you talk about chat, you remove all of these and it's just that. All right, that's just chat. This is Coworker. So when you use Coworker, you're using all of these. They get a memory built in. You give it the identity instructions. It's got tools, skills. Sorry. Actually, you know what? You can even say that is projects, and then this is Coworker. Okay, so when you use chat, it's just that. When you use the projects, it's the 3 of them. When you use Coworker, it's 4. When you use the Claude Code, this is what happens. That's your computer. And then they all actually sit inside your computer. So if you have a MacBook, you can say this is my MacBook Pro, right? And they all sit inside your computer. And I'll just jump back here quickly. This is still going. Oh, it's finished. Okay, cool. We'll have a look at that in a sec. But you actually go into Code and you jump into Claude Code, or the right way to do it is you go to here and you go to Claude Code, and there's actually a document on how to install Claude Code into your computer. Okay, you jump here. It tells you what are you using, and then you jump in and you literally take this and you open a terminal into your computer. So you just go into your thing, you open a terminal, it'll log in, and then you simply hit paste for that, and it installs Claude Code in your computer. So I want you to think of it like this. Chat is we speak to each other. Cowork is here, have a task, go do it. Claude Code is lives inside your computer. Lives inside the computer, okay? The same thing, you still need to talk to it, except you can set automated tasks, etc., which you can also do in Coworker. Claude Code can just, it's living inside the computer. Coworker's like the happier interface for it, okay? Coworker's like the thing you give tasks to. Coworker's inside. It's like, hey, you're now in my computer, right? All right, let's have a look. So if we installed it, it would sit in there, but I'm not going to do that for you now. I'm going to go back to this. I want to have a look at this presentation that's put together. All right, so check this out, right? So this is our company. This, now I don't know about you, but it's been 10 minutes, okay? And this thing has completely built this thing out. So it's an itemized quote. It's got the address of the property, which the team will blur out hopefully so you can't see where it is. And then it's got the information about us. So obviously this is not going to be relevant to builders, but it's about us. I didn't want to share another client's information. So this has got the whole stuff about us. Again, you know, information should be blurred out here, but you can see that it's got a whole bunch of stuff. It says address, the floor area, the plan reference, blah, 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 what this quote covers, wall framing, windows, internal plasterboard, how we measured quantities, so it's gone and broken everything down, and what we measured, line item pricing, so complete breakdown of the pricing, where the rates come from, you know, wall framing, how much per meter, this, that, and then from measured trades to grand total. So again, this is one of those things where you would go through this properly and you would say, okay, cool, hey, you know, we don't want to include this price, or we don't want to share the complete breakdown, or we want to get, it's up to you how you choose to share your pricing, right? What could move the number? So windows, have the widest variance, wall framing plus 15% plasterboard. You know, what's in, what's out, so what we've included, what's excluded, and then it's like, cool, here's our details, let's lock in a further chat. This is all done in 12 minutes, and I don't understand the first thing about quoting, okay? So I want you to understand this, because like, how many things could you be doing that you're not currently doing right now as a builder, right? I don't know how to do takeoffs, I got no idea. But you can see it's a really, really, really powerful tool if you start to use it properly. But instead, most people are using it, and they literally go here, and they're like, oh, sorry, they'll go to chat, and they'll be like, I'm going to go to chat and say, write me an email for, and it's like, come on, man, that's not how you do this, right? Like, that's not the right way to do it. I'm going to give you one last explanation for Claude Code that I think will help, and then we'll wrap up this video. So I've explained Claude, how to use it, sign up, Anthropic, highly recommend. Claude Coworker, I've showed you how that works. We just built a whole presentation with it. Now let me give you my last explanation that will explain Claude Coworker. Claude Code. Okay, so previously, when we wanted to build something like this, right? We used to have to break things down into step by step and be like, okay, these are the steps involved, right? And you used to have to go and say, okay, cool, hey, there's 6 steps in this process, and we used to call this automation, okay? And we used to have to say, hey, there's 6 steps in this process, and you know, I'll make it do step 1, and then I've got to make step 1 connect to step 2, and I'll go and build out step 2, and then can make sure step 2 passes on the information to step 3. And we used to do these in programs like, you know, Zapier or N8N. You don't have to do this anymore. This is old school now, right? This is scrapped. Claude Code now says, cool, tell me what the goal is. And then you say, I want to be able to do this. And then it says, okay, cool. And then it goes and just builds out all the steps for you without you having to understand anything. And it just goes and it builds everything out, and it tests it, and it verifies it, makes sure it all works. And if it needs access to an account, yes, you have to provide that access, but it's goal-driven automation. You don't have to say, hey, go do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You say, hey, I want to end up at step 5. And it says, okay, cool, we can do this or like this. Which way would you prefer? And then you say that, and then it says, okay, let me go. And it goes and it works and it comes back. Okay, if you don't understand how much this is going to change the way we do things, listen to me. I don't know if there's anything in the history of humanity that will change how we do things more. Okay, I don't know if there's anything that's ever come to life that can ever change how we do what we do. Now, what we do for our clients is we put together these documents. It's called an AI automation roadmap. It just shows you how to plug all this into your business. Okay, what I'm going to do is there's a link below. If you register your details, I will give you one of these. We'll give you one of these made for your business for free. Link below, fill it in. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.